Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to Skyblock News. I'm your host, Derailious, and just now the team hosted their first Skyblock Q&A, where we got a ton of details on the future of the game and how the development process works from the developers and designers themselves. Before we begin, make sure to like and subscribe. Use code RAIL on the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so we are here now at the Hypixel Skyblock Q&A, and they just opened up, and they have a million questions all ready to go through. Any plans to let us remove Tier 7 enchants from items through the Hex? Why do you need to remove Tier 7 enchants from items? Very interesting question and answer. I understand the point, though. The idea would be, like, allowing you to take your Tier 7s, and putting them on different pieces of gear, theoretically, or just removing them for whatever other reason. Like Venomous for Diana is also relevant for that. Oh, okay, interesting. Once they implement functionality for custom colors and the latest versions of MC, they want to do level 520 and level 560 colors.
Ooh.
So that's cool. We're going to be getting new, prefixes for players once we get to the ability to do custom colors in the tab, which is fair. Part of our, this one's a good one. Part of our community engagement improvements is taking a step in creating a Q&A session for our community. We're slowly trying to improve and look into how we can do better. Oh, that's really good.
That's a good one.
At least they're looking into this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Into more communication between players and the staff team. And I think this is proof that they do want to do better. I mean, it's the first time we've seen anything like this in years. I hope they continue to do more. I think it's very, very solid. Oh, this is interesting. Are there any plans in reaching 1.0 and exiting the prototype lobby? If so, how close are we to it? They still want to one day call Skyblock 1.0, but we keep pushing the boundaries of what we have in mind for it. Ultimately, there is an update we have in mind, and when we will release this update, it will be called 1.0. But at this stage, it would be a shame to release it without mastering all the latest version features. I think that's fair. That's a reasonable take. They want to make sure that the game is actually good in that regard. Ooh, they will have equipment wardrobe on alpha soon. That's interesting.
Hey, that's like...
That's a big deal. That's very, very huge.
Oh, they answered Rexy's question.
Also, they stated, yes, and they'll have something to show soon with regard to the official Skyblock resource pack. But they're not ready to do that. Stay tuned. Okay, fair. Ooh, are we going to get modern building blocks to the builder so we can build cooler islands? Motor says, can't say at this point, but it's definitely something we want to get to eventually. It's a very large technical undertaking. Other latest version features have taken priority at the moment. Fair.
That's fair.
Fair. I do think, though, if the team is listening to this in any capacity, I think people really do want the ability to build on their island with the modern blocks.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge desire by players. I don't know. Leave that in the comments if you're watching this on YouTube, you know, what you think about that and how much you want that. Because for me, I don't know about you guys, I would prefer the ability to do that over just a normal standard content update for a month. Because that would make it, you know, much more interesting and fun for me to build my island. Maybe I'm just like whatever about it, but
a lot of people take their islands very seriously.
Yeah, I think there's a lot more fun stuff that could be done with that. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy on that one. We're planning on adding these in the future. No, don't. Oh, come on. Like, I would be okay with this if they wanted to put in a bestiary cap, but come on. They gotta stop with, like, adding a bestiary to everything in the game, bro. Apparently, Tourist Canyon will have some improvements and buffs to throwing axes. That's pretty cool. Do developers regularly read the Skyblock suggestions form? And do they need to reach a certain number of upvotes or reactions to be noticed? Whenever an update gets put on alpha, we read every reply to the original alpha thread along with all new threads that get created. When we read many threads on the suggestions form, they're not able to respond to all of them. That's, like, reasonable. Yeah. I don't know. I think if you're expecting them to be able to read everything on the suggestions form, like, that's not feasible. There's so many things that they have to do in a day-to-day already. Like, reading every single little idea that people come up with is not going to be possible in addition. But them reading through all the stuff on the alpha threads, you know, makes sense. And I think is generally true, but I would love to see more reaction from them whenever they, you know, see feedback on the forums. On the alpha, at least. Why do wiped and deleted profiles remain on the in-game leaderboard rankings, blocking off leaderboard spots for legit players? That's a good question. And they're going to personally look into it, judge, and review it, which is cool. So that's good. I mean, that'll be really solid. You know, wiped and deleted profiles should not remain on those leaderboards at all. That would be kind of ridiculous. What's the biggest struggle when implementing something new? Skyblock as a whole has a pretty massive code base that contains new and efficient code and really old, outdated, and embarrassing code. I would say that a big struggle is sometimes we have to do a massive amount of internal testing to ensure a new feature won't come in and create dupes and exploits that will obliterate the economy or wipe profiles completely. And even then, some of it can still fall through the cracks. We've heavily improved our processes for this, but it's a struggle to say the least. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a
You
good
know,
answer.
over the years, the game has changed a lot. I imagine the stuff that they made in 2018, and this was kind of talked about in the Mini-Clune interview as well, is some of the old stuff when they were initially designing Skyblock, like, forced them into a hole, where they had to basically redesign the whole game to work with what they wanted for, like, co-ops and other systems. So I imagine a lot of it is very good, and a lot of it is old and bad, and they need to try to fix it somehow, but they're getting better at this, apparently, which is a good thing. How do you think about updates? Do you find a problem and a creative way to solve it, or what would be fun come first? Some updates come from trying to solve issues, such as pests trying to make farming more interactive and exciting. Others come from a fun concept or a strike of inspiration. Abandoned Quarry comes to mind as an example of the latter. Interesting. And they will be trying to improve communication with the community. We've had large technical issues with the Primal Dragons update that would require major rewrites to certain parts of the game, so they have no current plans on it. They're going to be looking at more end content maybe in the future, but currently no plans on that either. I appreciate that they're being really honest about this. I think Primal Dragons was super cool, but if they're not able to do it because of rewrites to the game and that would be a nightmare, then fair enough. They need to focus on other things. Yeah, more casual, more unfiltered sessions with the community. Interesting. This is an interesting answer. Alchemy rework. They have concrete plans for the future of alchemy, as far as the design, direction, and necessary scope, but nothing's in the development phase at this time and won't be anytime soon. Fair. Yeah, they don't plan on making experimentation table style games. Good. This is okay. Yeah, they plan on supporting the 2 latest Minecraft drops going forward, so 26.3 would have to come out before, but they could use sulfur cubes as part of 26.2. Fair. And this one, the Crimson Essence cost reduction. We do still plan on doing the cost reductions, that it's not something that will urgently happen. The reasoning behind nerfing the Crimson Essence cost is twofold. The nerf will allow players to obtain a max Kutra armor set in a reasonable amount of runs in gameplay, and there will be a world in which Kutra armors aren't the strongest armor in the game. That's interesting. That's probably more interesting as an answer. They're going to possibly make even better sets, making the current grind not reasonable for how long it takes. The cost reduction will indeed still happen in the future, along with a refund system that will grant you the difference. You should be safe to upgrade your Kudra armors, but of course, Crimson Essence may become cheaper down the line on the bazaar with a bunch of people getting refunds. So whether you upgrade your armors is up to you. My apologies to not giving you an earlier update about it. Okay, fair enough. Fair response. I think the fact that they're potentially looking at even better armor is the most interesting part of this announcement, but hearing that it will happen at some point, it's just not urgent, is fair. Player pet. It's perk 1, S for hamster pet. Perk 2, question mark. Perk 3, profit. I agree. Also, this answer, yes, there will be a raffle in the 500th year. I mean, I figured that was going to be the case, but it would be really weird for them not to do a raffle for year 500, but
You're adding John Fortnite to Skyblock 1.2.67.
Listen, news video about this one in a couple hours. Thanks for the thumbnail.
Okay.
There are multiple updates and various stages of production with the goal of improving the new player experience. So there we go. There is a plan to make the early game more straightforward, and there are multiple updates in various stages of production to make that happen. So that's cool.
I like that.
A single big minister update. Yeah, I mean, we knew this already, that the vast majority of it will come all at once in one singular update. They're just going through.
Oh, maybe.
Maybe. Will future islands have new hidden ducks? Maybe.
Oh.
Yeah. They're looking into attack and destroy. They're trying to see if it's a bannable offense or not. I really hope that the answer that they come to is that it will be allowed, but you have to be at your computer if you're going to be using it. And if you fail a macro check, you still fail a macro check. Ooh. Interesting. Has the Abyss idea been scrapped, or is it shelved for the time being? Well, this update has not been on our roadmap at all for years. We still sometimes talk about it internally. It will probably never release as the Abyss Island update, but it's possible another more modern idea will release someday. Fair enough. Very reasonable. Very reasonable on that one. Will 1.8 support ever be added back again? No. I don't know why. Interesting. There will be a new combat content where Kudra armor will likely be eclipsed. I can't say which content will contain armor that beats out Kudra armor. Castle Ashwood. But it could be any future combat content they have planned. I feel like that's very obviously going to be Castle Ashwood, by the way.
Ooh.
We decided not to reward +1 fishing cap from fishing chapters as a result of community feedback on the Lotus Atoll Alpha. Have some design ideas how to let players scale up to fishing 60 in the distant future, but nothing for the time being. Okay, so they're not going to do fishing 60 for the time being. Fair enough. In what stage of development is the Minister perk update right now? The development stage.
So true.
True. Very true. And they're going to be giving a summary later on at the end of the Q&A. We're trying to do better with having API features on update day, but sometimes things slip through the cracks.
Cool.
Yeah, that's fair. So good answer there for Queso's question. They're trying their best, but won't be perfect. W motor on that one.
What made you think he ever left?
So true. What makes you think he ever left? Will Dante ever be coming back? He's still in our hearts, guys. He's still in our hearts.
Will we get chapters for other islands that already exist?
Yes. Ooh, interesting. Will stuff like mining and combat islands get revamped to include chapters? I'll answer more globally on chapters because there are other related questions about them. In short, yes. Not always a revamp, but we do want to add chapters across the whole game. Taurus Canyon will release with its own set of chapters. When it comes to older islands, giving an island chapters is more work than it might at first seem, as the chapters are part of a wider island makeover that includes content modernization and a new latest version build, as seen recently with the Backwater Bayou changes made as part of the Lotus Atoll release. While the Bayou needed minimal changes on account of being a relatively new island, older islands need a much more detailed makeover. Out of the existing islands, though, the Crystal Hollows is currently on our radar, but no development work has been done yet. That is... I don't know what they're doing. Where's the hub chapters? The hub should be the next priority, I feel like. I feel like it's very clear that the hub should be, like, the next thing that's made, in terms of chapters. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this, but they really need to look at, the hub, I would say, first. But fair enough. Yeah, I know they're working on an early game makeover. Yeah, maybe that's included as part of that. Maybe, yeah.
Why wouldn't they have specified that?
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't specify that then, but yeah, you're probably right, guys. You're probably right. You're probably correct on that.
2FA.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Don Pyriso has previously shared some of the complexities with 2FA that make it difficult for us to maintain. Yeah, they've talked about that's why 2FA is not happening. But yeah, they don't want to be able, they're not able to do 2FA right now because of the resources that would require from their support staff and stuff like that. It'd be a pain in the butt. They have not answered any sort of regional server questions, which would have been cool, but they have not answered any. Oh, we got a bunch of them all in one. Candy Pat, will there ever be more community-driven events without relation to Dante or Aura? They take a lot of work, a ridiculously high amount of work that can take developers away from developing permanent content. Granted, they are amazing and fun for everyone, so they want to do more for sure. Timing has to be right, idea has to be really good. TLDR, I don't know, maybe. Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, just slash report. Like, I don't guys are asking like questions about like specific macros and stuff, and it's like you just gotta report it. These guys are not going to be, these are the content developers, they're not going to be able to answer that sort of stuff. A pest minion, interesting. Forgotten, never released updates or items. In an older design for the Harvest Feast, there was a pest minion, but we couldn't get it to work well in the game without really locking it down and stripping everything cool away from it. Interesting.
That is super insightful.
Are there any other major canceled updates akin to the moon update that was leaked briefly a few years back? That's more of like a personal question. I don't really know if that'll get answered. The moon update was scrapped. Primal update was also scrapped.
I want moon update.
I wish we got the moon update. Interesting.
To answer, I'm hunting, yes.
Can we expect a hunting skill cap increase with foraging V2? And the answer is yes. We will be getting a higher skill level for hunting, which means more hunter fortune, which means better hunter rates. Woohoo! Woohoo! Ooh.
Oh.
Okay, hear me out. We had this wild idea of adding professions, and then we could add a school where you would have had to attend classes to unlock your profession and answer tests, and then we lost interest. That's actually a really interesting idea. I don't think it would have worked in Skyblock. Like, I don't think this would have been very fun for a lot of people, but kind of interesting that that was, like, a Skyblock job update. Very silly.
Of course.
Very, very silly idea. They were gonna make you get a job, and then they had to cancel that. They're looking at ways to improve large parts of the early game experience, but have nothing to share at this time. Okay, fair enough. So I'll back off on that chapters thing from earlier. It seems like they are working on improving the early game, which is good. No other dragon pets planned for the moment, like the Rose or Jade Dragon. I think people were thinking about like a fishing-related dragon. They are seemingly not working on anything like that at the moment. Now I'm just waiting for more answers. Sorry, guys. Magic Find rework is currently in development. Once ready, it'll go on alpha for a sustained period to gather community feedback. I don't think that this will go poorly based on everything that we saw about it already in the threads. I think people are pretty excited for it. Oh, look at this guy. Some of the technology of Raven Guard is being used to make a new fighting system. Some tech that was developed originally for Raven Guard will be used in future Skyblock updates. This is a mob in the upcoming Ashwood Citadel, the renamed Castle Ashwood update, named the Marionette. I love this guy.
That is sick.
This guy looks awesome, bro. Look at him. He's so cute. Look at his little eyes. That's so cool. That's really sick. I like that a lot. All right, and Mithril Gourmand might be changed to be preventing players from finishing it early, which is pretty cool, but no plans on when it's going to be implemented.
Still nice that that's, you know, written down and, like, worked on somewhere.
Yeah, that's cool. Good to hear that they're going to be looking at Mithril Gourmand being fixed up. Players have been feeling like they get punished for updates on release day due to updates releasing underpowered and then getting buffed after a week. Is it intentional, or are you trying to reduce the frequency? Yeah, they are aware of this issue and try to avoid it as much as they can, but sometimes things only really get noticed when the update releases on live servers, and it's better to fix them as soon as they can rather than later down the line. I agree with this. I really think there needs to be a bigger look when they can at the amount of time it takes to complete certain pieces of content. Like, for example, people were aware of how long it would have taken to finish the Harvest Feast before it released on the main server. Incentivize players to go in there and play for a couple hours to try to figure out the rates. You know what I mean? Whether that be through memento items, through whatever else. I think that system really worked back in the day. You know, the alpha server can't be a just a server that people go on a sandbox. Make people have an incentive to test, and they will do so. Oh, we try to remain very fluid during development of Skyblock, and as such, we want to be careful about what we announce ahead of time. Ideas often change. What sounds like a good update can quickly crumble and get canceled. We don't want to announce an idea and then 3 months later realize we can't do it and deal with 3 years of moon update when. TLDR, no. God, I wish I had a reply right now. I would hit him with the moon update when.
Moon update when. Ooh.
Ooh. It's a raid. Interesting. No promises for a release date, but we're working on the next bit of instance combat content, the Ashwood Citadel. I would describe it as a raid. So we are getting Skyblock's first raid, in all likelihood. It's going to be instance content. Totem Blade, Archer, Elite, that guy looks sick. Firefly, throws pyre. Ashby, or Amby. So they're Amber, that's cool. I was right about that.
How do I join the team?
What? Weightlifter? Look at him, it's a weightlifter.
It's so cute.
Stumpy. Typical kamikaze enemy. Look at him.
I love it.
He's 1 block tall. Oh, that's wonderful. Very cool. Taurus Canyon will have a lot of foraging and hunting upgrades. Fair enough. Yeah, the enemies here look really cool. I like them. Concept art, trash mobs. And this was originally called Castle Blackwood. Interesting. Guild will have another purpose. Raiding is going to be cool in Skyblock. I think it'll be exciting. Interesting.
Ooh.
Planned continuation of the dungeon's lore. Watcher's latest journal message leaves the door wide open to that, and Rift doesn't seem like a continuation of that. Yes, but not in the form of journals. You'll see the Watcher again in the future, probably. Interesting. Interesting answer right there. Ooh.
Oh.
Any leaks you can give us relating to the next Forge Island or the overall direction you have with it in general? This looks beautiful, by the way.
That is sick.
The ships there, that is so cool.
Well, there's your image.
I wonder if this is how we get to Castle Ashwood, then.
Maybe. Oh, that's so cool.
That looks so cool. Genuinely awesome.
The banners on the side.
Yeah, the banners. I wonder if this is how we're going to get to Castle Ashwood, then. That's sick.
That's so cool.
Very, very cool. That's exciting. Exciting stuff. When does Hamster Slayer get added? Sounds cruel. All right, it's now 1 o'clock, so I wonder how long they're gonna keep this going over the
I figure
12
they'll
o'clock
be
mark.
closing it soon.
Yeah. Holy crap. Yeah, this looks cool.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can glean anything else from this, but I don't think so. Channel will remain open for a few more days. Very nice. Yeah, I'll be posting a lot. I wonder if they're going to be wrapping up questions now or if they are going to do a few more, because I would love to hear some more answers. Oh, there we go. Iron Man profiles are a good benchmark for how balanced a piece of content is in isolation. That being said, Iron Man is supposed to be a difficult game mode, and as such, we don't balance for them, just with them in mind. Reasonable. I don't think this always happens, but reasonable. Reasonable answer. Wow. Taurus Canyon will add well over 100 new attributes, perhaps closer to 150 by this point. Holy. We are getting a lot of new attributes with that update. Wow. That's like, this is kind of insane to hear, because they talked about, you know, Taurus Canyon as being smaller than the first update. And, like, I think the original release of Foraging launched with about 150. But a lot of them were already pre-existing attributes. You know, I think this is a really big deal. Over 100 new attributes is crazy. The fate of this item is currently undecided. It may return in a form less prone to swapping in the future, but it's not going to enter the Shen's special rotation in its current state. So the Taiken Mask won't be released as a Shen's special item in its current form. Fair enough. I think pretty much everybody wanted that not to be the case. Because right now it really is like helmet swapping the item. But pretty cool. Pretty cool that that's going to be happening. Releasing fresh content not shown to the public. Do you feel like you lose much for having updates over its Go Alpha? I feel like it is now, but I want to know the dev's perspective. Highly unlikely. It'd have to be a very special kind of update as not putting us on Alpha is a major risk for performance, and we'd have a chance to gather feedback. Okay, that makes sense. They don't really want to do updates in the future that don't appear on the Alpha for pretty clear reasons, I feel like. Other than stuff like, I think the only thing where that makes sense is like the Mountaintop, where that update kind of was fine to not release on the Alpha because it was so lore related. And that concludes Skyblock's first Q&A. If you have any questions about anything talked about in this video, feel free to leave a comment down below. The team will continue to answer questions, and I will have the Discord for the Hypixel server also linked down below. Once again, leave all of your thoughts, like and subscribe, use code RAIL in the Hypixel store for 5% off your order, and look to the future. Fellas, I'll see you then.